Number 9, starting with benzene, design a synthesis route for the following compound. Well, let's go into this and let's try to figure out what order we should have placed each substituent at. Because remember, I'm starting from benzene, so I have nothing on the ring. So the first thing I'd want you to do is just to classify each group, whether that's ortho-para directing or meta. This is going to help you determine the order. Now, looking at this first one even, there's one other additional thing that we did talk about early on, and it was going back to our problems that we saw with Friedel-Crafts reactions. Remember that anything that is a strong deactivator, like the nitro group, that had to be added on later on. So I know that for acylation, this has to have this group added first. That has to be our first step. So that's why, again, this had to be added first before that nitro group. I know that this group is meta-directing, so I'll say that this is meta. Next, let's remember what our nitro group is. Nitro is also meta-directing, and it's a strong deactivator. Chlorine is an ortho-para director, so let's label this. We said this was meta, this is ortho-para. Now, your main clue here is the fact that this is actually in the meta position relative to both of these. So what had to have come next was that nitro group because this chlorine is in the meta position. And this didn't move our nitro group to the ortho position, which would have been here, or the para position, which would have been here. So because of that, I know our next step is going to be the nitro group, then the chlorine at the end. And again, still remembering that this had to be added first because of the problem we saw with strong deactivators like the nitro group. So let's build this, starting with that benzene ring. I'm going to do Friedel-Crafts acylation. I know what type it's going to be because what substituent is already added on. So all I'm doing really is I'm making sure I still have the correct amount of carbons, which is 1, 2, and 3, these carbons, 3 carbons. And I add that chlorine group. So whatever is sticking out plus that chlorine. Next, I'm going to keep going with what I said before, where I'm now going to add that nitro group. So nitration. That looks like this reagent, where I'm going to add this in the meta position because this is a meta director. So our nitro group adds in the meta position. Last step is to add that chlorine by chlorination, which is this reagent. And again, this is meta directing. It's going to add that chlorine in the meta position. So these 3 steps is our answer.